I was 27 years old the first time I said no to my family, and they looked at me like I'd committed a crime. My name is Elena Brooks, and for the last 8 years of my life, I've been raising children that aren't mine, while the woman who gave birth to them barely remembers their names. This is the story of how I finally stopped being the family's unpaid nanny and what happened when they realized I meant it. It started on a Tuesday evening in Columbus, Ohio. I'd just gotten home from my internship at a marketing firm, my first real job in my field after years of community college classes taken online whenever I could steal a few hours between diaper changes and school pickups. I was exhausted. The kind of exhausted that lives in your bones and never quite goes away. But it was a good exhausted, the kind that comes from doing something for yourself for once. My sister, Kayla, was sitting on the couch in our grandmother's house where we all lived. She was scrolling through her phone, her 4 kids running wild around her like feral cats. The oldest, Jaden, was 8. The youngest, Mason, was barely 2. None of them had eaten dinner. I could tell because the kitchen was exactly as I left it that morning. "Elena," Kayla didn't look up from her phone, "can you make something for the kids? I'm not feeling well." I set down my bag, looked at the chaos, looked at my sister who was 24 years old and had never held a job for longer than 3 months. "Where's Grandma?" I asked. "Bingo night. She won't be back until late." Of course. I made dinner. Chicken nuggets and mac and cheese because that's all the kids would eat without a fight. Fed them, bathed them, got them into pajamas, read them stories, put them to bed. By the time I came back downstairs, it was almost 10 p.m. Kayla was still on the couch. "Thanks," she said absently. "Oh, by the way, I need to talk to you about something." Something in her tone made my stomach drop. "I'm pregnant." I stared at her. "What?" "I'm pregnant. About 2 months. I just found out." "Kayla, you have 4 kids already. 4 kids you don't take care of. 4 kids I take care of." "Don't start with me, Elena. I'm going through a lot right now." "Who's the father?" She shrugged. "Does it matter?" "Yes, it matters. Child support matters, rent matters, food matters. Kayla, how are we going to afford another baby?" "We'll figure it out. We always do." She looked at me then, and I saw it, that look, the one that meant she'd already decided how we were going to figure it out. "No," I said. "What no?" "Whatever you're about to ask me, the answer is no." Her face hardened. "I haven't even asked anything yet. I can see it, and I'm telling you now, before you even say it, no." She stood up. "You're being really selfish right now. I'm your sister. I'm going through something traumatic, and you're making it about you." "Kayla, I've been raising your children since I was 19 years old. I dropped out of college, I gave up my job, I gave up dating, I gave up everything to take care of kids you keep having with men who disappear the second they find out you're pregnant. I'm not being selfish, I'm being realistic." "So what, you're just going to abandon me? Abandon your nieces and nephews?" "I'm not abandoning anyone. But I'm also not putting my life on hold again. I have an internship, a real one, at a real company. They're talking about offering me a full-time position in 3 months. I'm not giving that up." Kayla's eyes filled with tears. Real ones or fake ones, I couldn't tell anymore. "I can't believe you're doing this to me. What kind of sister are you?" "The kind who's tired of being used." She didn't speak to me for 3 days after that, but the kids still needed to be fed, still needed to be put to bed, still needed someone to sign their school forms and pack their lunches. That someone was still me. Our grandmother, Margaret, came back from her bingo night and found out about the pregnancy within hours, and unlike me, she was thrilled. "Another grandbaby! How wonderful!" "Grandma, Kayla can't afford another baby. I can't afford another baby. This house can't fit another baby." My grandmother waved her hand dismissively. "We'll make it work. Family takes care of family, Elena. That's what we do." "Family takes care of family?" Grandma, I've been the only one taking care of anyone for 8 years. When do I get to be taken care of? Her face went cold. You're being very ungrateful right now. I gave you a roof over your head. I gave you everything. You gave me a bedroom and permission to raise someone else's children. Those children are your family. And I love them, but they're not my responsibility. They're Kayla's. Kayla needs support right now, not judgment. That was the line, the one I'd heard my entire life. Kayla needs support. Kayla's going through something. Kayla can't help it. But what about me? What about what I needed? The next week, things escalated. Kayla sat me down at the kitchen table with Grandma beside her. An intervention, apparently. We've been talking, Kayla started, and we think the best thing for everyone is if you take a break from your internship. I laughed, actually laughed. You're joking. I'm not. You're barely making any money there anyway, and I need help, real help. The baby's coming in 7 months. We need to start preparing. Preparing how? Well, for one, we're going to need a bigger car. Your car has 3 rows. You could sell it and we could get something that fits all of us. You want me to sell my car? It's just sitting in the driveway most days anyway. You take the bus to your internship. We could use the money for baby supplies and… No. Elena, no, absolutely not. That car is mine. I saved for 2 years to buy it. It's the only thing I own that's actually mine. My grandmother leaned forward. Elena, sweetheart, this is about family, about sacrifice. Your sister needs you. She doesn't need me. She needs to stop having children she can't afford. Kayla's face went red. How dare you? How dare I what? Tell the truth? You're 24 years old with 4 kids and the 5th on the way. You don't have a job, you don't have savings, you don't have a plan, and every time you get pregnant, you expect me to fix it. I never asked you to do anything. You didn't have to ask, it just became my job by default, because God forbid Kayla actually face consequences for her choices. My grandmother stood up. That's enough. Elena, you're being cruel. Kayla is going through a difficult time. She needs support, not attacks. What about me? When do I get support? When do I get to have a life? You have a life. You live here. You have family who loves you. That should be enough. And there it was, the truth they'd never say out loud but always believed. I wasn't supposed to want more. I was supposed to be grateful for the privilege of serving them. That night, I made a decision. I started looking for apartments, small studios in cheap neighborhoods, places I could barely afford on my internship stipend, but that would be mine. I opened a new bank account and started transferring money secretly. $20 here, $50 there, whatever I could hide without them noticing. I stopped buying groceries for the house. Let the pantry get empty. Let them realize what it cost to feed 6 people every single day. And I started documenting. Photos of the kids' report cards that I'd signed, receipts for clothes and school supplies I'd bought, screenshots of text messages where Kayla asked me to pick up the kids, feed the kids, watch the kids. I didn't know what I'd need the evidence for yet, but some instinct told me to collect it. 2 months later, my internship offered me a full-time position, $38,000 a year, benefits, real money, real opportunity. I accepted immediately. When I told my family, the reaction was not what I'd hoped. You can't take that, Kayla said. The baby's coming in 5 months. I need you here. I'm taking it. I start in 2 weeks. Elena, you're being selfish again. I need help. The kids need help. Then maybe you should start helping yourself. That's when Kayla started crying, the loud, dramatic kind that brought my grandmother running from the other room. What did you do? Grandma demanded. I didn't do anything. I accepted a job, a real job. But what about Kayla? What about the baby? What about them? They need you. No, they need Kayla to grow up, and they need you to stop enabling her. My grandmother's face went purple. "How dare you speak to me that way, after everything I've done for you?" "Everything you've done? Grandma, I've been paying rent since I was 20. I buy my own food. I pay for my own phone. The only thing you've given me is a room and the obligation to raise children that aren't mine. Those children are your family, and I love them, but I'm not their mother, and I'm done acting like I am." The argument escalated from there. Voices raised, accusations thrown, Kayla crying, Grandma yelling, me standing firm in a way I never had before. And then Kayla said something that changed everything. "Fine. If you're going to abandon us, then get out. Get out of this house. You're not welcome here anymore." I looked at my grandmother, waited for her to contradict, to tell Kayla that was too far. She didn't. "Maybe that would be best," Grandma said quietly. "If you're not going to be part of this family, then you shouldn't be here." I packed my bags that night, found a cheap motel on the edge of town, slept in a lumpy bed and stared at the ceiling wondering if I'd just made the biggest mistake of my life. But I went to work the next day, and the day after that. Started my new job, started my new life. For 2 weeks, I heard nothing from them. Then my phone exploded. 20 missed calls, 50 texts, all from Kayla, Grandma, and numbers I didn't recognize. I listened to one voicemail. Kayla's voice, shaking with rage. "You're going to regret this, Elena. You think you can just abandon your family, leave kids who depend on you? I'm calling CPS. I'm telling them you've been abusing the kids, neglecting them. See how your new job likes that." My blood went cold. She wouldn't, she couldn't, but she did. 3 days later, 2 police officers showed up at my new apartment asking to speak with me about allegations of child abuse and neglect. I let them in, stayed calm, answered every question. Had I lived with the children? Yes. Had I been their primary caretaker? Yes. Had I ever hit them? No. Had I ever left them unsupervised? No. Had I abandoned them? I moved out of a house where I was being exploited. The officers exchanged looks. "Ma'am, your sister filed a report claiming you physically abused your 8-year-old son and then abandoned all 4 children without ensuring they had proper care." My hands were shaking. "That's not true. None of that is true." "Can you prove that?" "Yes. Yes, I can." I showed them everything, the photos, the receipts, the text messages going back years showing that I'd been the one buying food, clothes, school supplies, the messages from Kayla asking me to pick up kids, watch kids, feed kids. I showed them my bank statements proving I'd been paying rent and buying groceries for a household of 7 people. I showed them school records I'd signed as the emergency contact because Kayla never bothered. And then I showed them something else, something I'd been keeping in case I ever needed it. A recording. 3 weeks earlier, before everything exploded, I'd recorded a conversation. Kayla asking me to quit my internship, Grandma pressuring me to sell my car, both of them saying I was obligated to take care of the children. The officers listened, took notes, asked more questions. Then they asked if I wanted to press charges for filing a false police report. I thought about it. Really thought about it. "No," I said finally. "I just want this documented. I want it on record that these allegations were investigated and found to be false, because I have a feeling this isn't the last time she's going to try something like this." I was right. Over the next month, Kayla tried everything, called my work claiming I'd stolen from her, posted on social media that I'd abandoned my children, sent messages to friends and extended family painting me as a monster. But I had evidence, documentation, truth, and slowly people started seeing through her lies. The company I worked for was supportive. They dealt with toxic family situations before. They documented everything, protected me. Kayla's baby was born in March, a girl. She named her Destiny. I didn't visit the hospital. My grandmother called, said I was being heartless, said I'd regret missing my niece's birth. Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't, but what I didn't regret was choosing myself for once. 6 months later, I got promoted. Not a huge jump, but enough to afford a better apartment, a one-bedroom in a quiet neighborhood, a place with a lock on the door and nobody asking me to sacrifice my future for their mistakes. I still think about the kids sometimes. Jaden, Madison, Tyler, Mason, and now baby Destiny. I love them. I hope they're okay. I hope someone's making sure they do their homework and eat vegetables and feel safe at night. But I also know that I can't save them by drowning myself. I ran into my grandmother at the grocery store last month. She looked older, tired. She was pushing a cart with a baby carrier in it. Destiny, I assumed. She saw me, looked like she wanted to say something, then she just walked past. I didn't chase her, because here's what I learned. You cannot set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. You cannot sacrifice your entire life because someone else refuses to take responsibility for theirs. Family is important, love is important, but so are boundaries, self-respect, your own future. I spent 8 years being the person everyone depended on, the person who fixed problems she didn't create, the person who stayed quiet and accepted that her dreams mattered less than everyone else's needs. And I almost disappeared into that role completely. But I didn't. I chose myself, even when it was hard, even when it was lonely, even when people called me selfish. Because the opposite of selfish isn't selfless sacrifice. It's self-respect, and I finally have that now. My name is Elena Brooks. I'm 28 years old. I live alone in a small apartment in Columbus, Ohio. I have a job I'm good at. I have a future I'm building. And for the first time in my life, that future belongs to me, not to someone else's children, not to someone else's mistakes, just to me. And that's not selfish. That's survival.